Just really proud to be here in the second year of building our program. I think about those guys that y'all just talked to, Zach and Keenan and Justin, Norrance, and when the coaching change happened between Tubby and our group, I just promised those guys that we would do everything in the power possible to get them back in the NCAA tournament, and came up a little bit short last year, but really appreciative of those guys staying the course with us. And, we look forward to hopefully being a part of the fight. But the story, in my mind, is just how thankful and appreciative I am of our players and all the work that they've put into our program to get us back to the national tournament.
Okay, thank you, Coach. Let's go to questions. Again, please state name and affiliation. Coach, first one on your right, here on the outside aisle.
Adam Grossbard, Dallas Morning News. When you were recruiting Zaire Smith in high school, what did you see in him, and how has he developed in his freshman season?
Yeah, I think with Z, the obvious is the athleticism and the talent. But what we saw early on in the process was the thing to me that makes the difference and will eventually make him an NBA player one day is his character, his toughness, his unselfishness, and then maybe above all, his love of the game. I think in today's world with rankings and the internet and all this stuff, and kids' talent can be pretty well documented pretty quickly. But what separates, I think, the good from the great and the great from the elite is just the old school love of the game. And Z's a guy that loves basketball. He's always in the gym. I'd put our other freshman, Jarrett Culver, in the same classification, and Morrow and Malik. And that's one of the great things about our team is that we've literally got a bunch of guys that love basketball.
Coach, let's go on your left.
Carlos Silva with the Lubbock Avalanche Journal. Chris, I know you kind of mentioned it already, but just the process for these guys to get back here, especially like you said with the coaching change, just how much work has been put into this, and how gratifying is it for you to kind of watch these players kind of do that and just kind of reward themselves with this?
Yeah, I've always had a kind of problem with the coaches that talk about how hard they work. We all do, or this player has this extreme work ethic. He makes 500 shots. I mean, everybody does that at this level. But what I would say is this, I don't think we work harder than anyone else. I'm not saying we're better, but there's no one in all of athletics that works any harder than us. We take a lot of pride in our day-to-day process, whether it be nutrition, fueling the body, weight room, getting your body ready to play in the Big 12, training room, making sure you're sharp, the academic piece of being a student athlete, everything to us, individual work. But we just have a day-to-day process that we believe in. And we got to get guys that buy in and want to be coached like that. Great coaches want to be, great players want to be coached. They want to be pushed. And that's what we inherited first here with Tubby Smith's class. I can't thank Coach Smith enough for the foundation that he laid that we're benefiting from. And then the players that we've added to the team. But I think at the core of everything is a bunch of guys that want to get better. And I believe in our day-to-day process. We don't have a lot of McDonald's All-Americans. We don't have a lot of players that the national scene have heard of, but then I think our season speaks for itself. And at the core of all that is just guys that love basketball, coaches that love basketball, and then a process that we believe in that we try to execute every day.
We'll stay on your left, Coach.
Chris, SFA, those guys, they force 20 turnovers a game, the most of anybody in the country. What is it about their kind of disruptive style of half-court defense that makes them so effective at that?
Well, Stephen F. Austin's one of the best teams in college basketball. Ask LSU, ask Missouri. They passed the eye test with their non-conference schedule, and they just got really good players. They've got guys that have played on NCAA tournament teams. This is a team that's beat West Virginia in the tournament just a couple years ago, as well as another first-round game. They got all-conference players. They got guys that are going to play after college. And then they've got a really good coach. Kyle Keller is a guy that all of us in basketball know Kyle. We know of his success in the Big 12 as an assistant for Coach Sutton and Sean. We know that he was at Texas A&M as Billy built the program quickly. I know he was a great junior college coach back at Tyler. Kyle and I, we used to, after recruiting events, we'd go to McDonald's. Neither one of us could afford the regular meals, so we'd order two things off the dollar meal, and then we'd get the water cups. And I'm not proud of this, but when they weren't looking, we'd put Sprite in the water cup. That's me and Kyle come from the same background, so nobody respects Coach Keller more than I do, and I've made sure that our players understand you're playing against a really good team. You're playing against a team that's good enough to beat anybody in this tournament in a 40-minute game, and you're playing against a team that's coached by a guy that knows what he's doing.
Okay, on the outside aisle toward the back.
Chris, Mike Finger from the San Antonio Express News. Along those lines, when you're in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina in the ABA, and then McMurray. Do you think that you're on your way to something like this, or is that even on your mind?
Well, I have a lot of confidence in myself. You know, it's not arrogance. I would hope that people that know me, including my 3 daughters that are here, you know, they keep me humble pretty quick. But I have a lot of confidence in myself, and my confidence comes from the people I surround myself with. I think we have the best coaching staff in college basketball with Coach Adams and Coach Ogden and Al Pinkins, and our support staff with Coach Sutton and Brian Berg and Max. And I just surround myself with winners, people that have been there and done that. On our coaching staff, everybody on our staff's won a championship. Everybody on our staff's won an NCAA tournament game. And 2 of our staff have played and coached in Final Fours. Then I have a lot of confidence in our players. I recruit guys that I know I can coach, guys that love basketball and want to get better. And then ultimately, that's where, you know, great opportunities come from, is when you have good players. So I am a confident person. So back in those Myrtle Beach days, I was just trying to win the next game on the schedule. As I sit here today, I'm having a lot of fun. I mean, we're eating at nice restaurants, staying at nice hotels, walking through carpet here. You know, 4 years ago, days in, and the continental breakfast is what we ate for pregame meal. So I never forget where I come from. I wouldn't change my journey for anything. But today's story is these Texas Tech players and this team and everything they've done to get us here, and I'm just enjoying the ride. I don't want it to end. I want to coach these guys all the way till a Monday night, where it's me and one other guy coaching, and everybody else is, either watching a game or in a sports bar.
Okay, we have a question in the back by the riser.
Bailey Burtmaster, the ABC affiliate in Lubbock. Coach, you mentioned it there. Your 3 daughters are here. Emotions running high as you enter the big dance. What's it like to have them here? And also, you mentioned they humble you. How do they do that?
Oh, I mean, anyone that has 3 daughters understands where I'm coming from. Margot woke up this morning and asked what we were going to do today. There's an American Girl store in the Galleria, so I said, well, we got a basketball tournament. And then, Avery's smarter than anybody in our program combined, so when she says something, we all just kind of pay attention. And then I wish Ella could play some minutes for us tomorrow, because my middle daughter is very competitive and a good player. But, no, it's special. And I just want to thank our players. I've thanked those guys 4 or 5 times this week. And they're the guys that have worked so hard and played good basketball and overcome adversity to get us into this tournament where all of us, including myself and my daughters, can benefit.
Okay, here on the front.
Coach, Art Strickland, when you beat Kansas up in Lawrence this year, someone asked you what you had and Kansas didn't have. You famously said, well, we got Whataburger in Lubbock. I was wondering, we got Florida teams here and we got teams here everywhere. Have you given directions to any Whataburgers locally here, or passed out any more dining advice to these non-Texans?
Yeah, I grew up in Irving, Texas, right down the road, and so I know where they all are. We're staying at the Hilton Anatole, and there's a Whataburger right on the feeder road. I might have or might not have walked over there about 3 o'clock in the morning. I leave that up to you. But no, I just, I kind of speak from the hip. I'm not a guy that really prepares. I just speak from the heart. I think that's where coaching is. Guys know you tell them the truth, and that's everything in recruiting and coaching. So with that comment, it's actually worked out pretty good for me, though. The people that own the Whataburgers in Texas, they sent me a Yeti cooler, got a couple coupons. It's actually worked out really good for me. It's one of my better decisions.
Okay, in the middle on the right.
David Hoff from the Chicago Tribune. Tommy Hamilton, can you just talk about how would you describe his role and the way he's developed for you?
Hey, Tommy's been great for us. Tommy jumped on board with Texas Tech when we were kind of unproven. As a transfer coming from DePaul, he could have gone to a lot of different places. But he believed in us before we had a body of work to show him. We just told him what we were going to do and going to try to do, and he believed it. I'll never forget Tommy's visit. His mother, him, and me were sitting in the arena, and we started talking about the process from nutrition to working out and stuff like that. We also are 2 guys that said, hey, let's don't talk about the past. Let's just talk about the future. I have a lot of respect for Tommy. He transformed his body during his sit-out year last year, lost 50 pounds. That's hard to do. I've been trying to lose 4 pounds for the last 2 years. Tommy drops 50 in 6 months. He's one of the better players. I think he'll be even a better pro than he was a college player for different reasons. But Tommy is skilled. When Tommy plays well, we play at our best. But I have a lot of respect and appreciation for Tommy Hamilton, and it's been a great ride coaching him. And again, I hope I can coach him well into this month.
Other questions for Coach? Okay, here again on the right.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. Chris, what did you guys learn about yourself in the time that you either didn't have Keenan or had him really limited there late in the year?
Well, I think we all learned about the character of our team and the things that we hold our hat on that came true. You know, I tell the guys all the time that in life, and just like in college basketball, it's not a matter of if adversity is coming, it's a matter of when. That's just the life that we all live. Basketball is no different. So we talk a lot about things like mental toughness in our program, and to have to overcome some of these injuries, whether it be Keenan, whether it be Justin, the first play of the Kansas game, whether it be Zach all season long. Just the fact that these guys have had the kind of season that we've had, overcoming some adversity, how this is a direct reflection of their character. And all teams have adversity, all teams have injuries, but I think we've had our share this year, and our guys have just overcome it. We've had a steadiness to our team, a professionalism, a maturity. You know, I tell the guys all the time, it's like, you know, Prince today, Frog tomorrow. You know, you win a game, your cell phone's blowing up, everybody's your best friend, text messages are random, then you drop a couple, it gets pretty quiet pretty quick. And I think our guys understand that. We don't get too high and we don't get too low. And I think that steadiness is a necessity to play in the Big 12. And I think it could actually help us in this tournament too. We expect a great game against Stephen F. Austin. We know they're going to have runs. They're a really good team. And I think we got to be steady. The NCAA tournament games are long games. They're a game of runs. And I've always thought that the team that can kind of stay the course gives themselves a chance, you know, late in the game.